Hey, I'm Trace Barnett. Welcome to Garden Party. Today, I'm going to show you how to start seeds indoors that's going to bring you a bountiful harvest all season long. So let's get dirty. Let's talk dirt. I prefer to use a good high quality potting mix, and you can really tell the quality of a potting mix by simply putting the dirt in your hand and balling it up just like that. And when you pull it open and you see like these small balls, that means that this dirt is retaining enough moisture, perfect for starting seeds inside. So to our dirt, I am going to add just a little bit of water. You don't want your mixture to be completely saturated. You kind of just want it to be just ever slightly moist. So you want a dirt consistency about like that, not mud. Of course, you can also use something to stir this with, but I prefer to use my hands. I love to reuse these little 6 plant sales that I just get every year. Annuals come in these, tomato plants come in these. I hang on to them rather than throwing in the landfill because they are the perfect vessel to grow your seeds in. I'm going to use my scoop here, and I'm just going to start throwing dirt into those sales. The more you spill, the better it goes. So fill those up just like so. I'm ditching that. You don't want to overfill these because you don't want any dirt running over as you water them, because that might cause our seeds to waterfall effect over into our tray. You also don't want to take your hands and just press hard onto these, because you want that soil to have air in it, because that allows our fresh roots to grow deep down into the dirt. So what I like to do is take our sails and just lightly tamp it just like that. And now comes the important part. Let's start planting some seeds. The most important step of this whole process is to look at your seed packet. Every bit of information that you need to know about your seed is on the back of this packet. I also suggest after you plant your seeds, you take your packet with a Sharpie and just write on there the date that you planted your seeds. Now, depending on the size of your seed, I have a couple little tools here in my arsenal. One is just a toothpick, and the other is just a pair of tweezers. Simply take your toothpick here, and I'm gonna make a small hole in the dirt. I would go ahead and do that in all 6 of the sales that I'm planting here. So I'm going 1/4 of an inch with my handy dandy toothpick. Then you can use it for your teeth later. With my tweezers, it's easier to do this with tweezers unless you have small child hands, or if you have a small child on hand who would love to help you plant seeds. If not, the tweezers work perfectly. Take that and drop that directly in to each of those pre-made holes from our toothpick. Some seeds, depending on the variety, require soaking or nicking. So soaking your seeds basically means if it has a hard exoskeleton, I don't think it would be called an exoskeleton if it's a seed, would it? Some seeds that have a hard outer shell, almost like an exoskeleton, sometimes those seeds need to be soaked. So drop those directly into a little glass of water. I prefer to use a clear glass because that way I can see what is happening in there. I would soak this for about 24 hours, changing the water occasionally if it does start to turn cloudy. If the outer shell is super hard, use just a little pair of fingernail clippers and barely clip the outside of that shell, and that's going to speed up germination. So once we have our seeds placed perfectly into our seed cells here, I'm just going to take my hand and just lightly cover each one of those eggplant seeds. You don't want to cover those and smush them down into the soil because we don't want to hinder the growing process. I love to use one of these misters that I just simply grab at a home improvement store and simply just give those a nice even mist. So now that we have our seeds watered, let's talk about creating a mini greenhouse over our seeds. I prefer to use simple plastic that I just lay directly over my plants there. I like to just take those same toothpicks And we're just going to stick those in each corner to hold that down. We don't want this blowing off and all of our beautiful seedlings in there just gasping, dying. You will want to remove this plastic as needed to water and just fold it half back like that. Water your seeds sufficiently, fold that back over, and simply attach once again. This is going to create a greenhouse effect, and it's really going to lock in all of that good moisture as our dirt heats up, and it's going to germinate our seeds perfectly. I learned to start seeds at a young age because I come from a real cheap family. And we also wanted to grow a lot of vegetables. So I learned how to start seeds from really a combination of my grandparents on both sides, because they both grew different things in their garden. And it just was so much more economical to grow large scale starting with seeds. And I think that's really the answer to gardening, is gardening shouldn't be expensive. It shouldn't have all of this laborious equipment or anything. It should just be readily accessible to anyone. And starting seeds by hand is just kind of the quintessential way to start a garden. It is life itself. Now that we have our seeds covered in plastic, now's the time to move those to an area where you can get 6 to 8 hours of sunlight on these daily. We are going to let these just marinate under this plastic until roughly 50% of our seeds are up. So we planted 36 eggplants here. You roughly want 18 eggplants up. And you don't want them up more so than about just peeping up above the surface. I mean, just barely 1/4 of an inch. Now's the time we talk grow lights. I've got some down here started for us, so I'm going to move these out. There are tons of grow lights out there on the market, and they are very economical. So I'm going to plug this in here. And you want to affix your grow light to where it is always 3 inches above your plant shoots here. So as your plants grow from small seedlings into developing their long-lived leaves, you're going to want to raise this grow light so it's continuously 3 inches above your leaves. You are going to want to leave these under your grow light until temperatures outside are warm enough to where you can start hardening these plants off. And you're probably wondering, what does hardening off mean? So any plant that you start or grow indoors is going to require some time outside before it can fully acclimate. I would suggest taking your plants out onto a porch and start with a minimum of 2 hours. Don't put them in the direct sun or in the direct wind. Put them somewhere protected, just where they can ease their way into the world. You're going to want to bring these back in at night, and the following day for the next 12 days, which sounds a little arduous, I know, but they are our babies and they need our utmost of care. For the next 12 days, you're going to want to extend your time out in the elements by an hour or 2. So after your 12 days of acclimating your seedlings to the big bad world is over, it's then time to plant those in our growing beds and dream about that abundant harvest that's, you know, just a short turn around the corner. Adequately, sufficiently wet. Damp, thank you. Damp. Like, comment, and subscribe for more seed starting tips, recipes, and garden shenanigans. Can't get it open. Hold on. How cute are those? Exoskeleton makes us sound so smart. Also, leave us a comment with a photo and let us know how your seeds are growing. Don't know where to go. Damp. Okay, do we need to do it all over again?